Allow God's living waters to wash over you and refresh your soul.
You've been praying for yourself when the answer is in praying for other people. While I'm praying for California, God shows up in my house.
As kingdom people, with the king in us and us being sovereign ground, we are not governed by the laws of this land, but we're governed by the laws of heaven.
He's talking about you going to draw water from the wells of salvation. Where's the well? In you.
If we want to release the water, watch this, we don't have to pray for it to come. Where we are now, we pray for it to be released.
Release deliverance and transformation in every area of your life through God's living waters. This revitalizing 3-message series can be yours on CD or DVD when you visit our website or call 1-800-591-8480 today.
Right.
We're back.
Yeah.
Hello, we're back. Hi.
Yes.
How are you? Glad to see you again. We want to talk to you today about thank you for your patience. We had a little technical difficulty, something that we cannot explain, but it seemed to have corrected itself, or the Lord put his hand on it. Something happened, and gladly we're back with you again. A lot of significant things happened. I saw an extremely disturbing but revealing interview with Ivanka Trump, and I also saw one with her husband. And turn me up just a little bit in my headset, Crystal. Ivanka was saying that if you talk to most people in the country, the American people, I like when they use that phrase, they're not in favor of a national minimum wage because most people don't want you to give them anything. That's her perception of a minimum wage at $15. That most people don't want you to give them that; they want to earn that. And so I'm thinking. So, when was the last time you earned $6.52 an hour for a 40-hour week?
When you grew up in a place of privilege,
and
it was given stuff.
And you finally get up to $15 after you've been working 25 years, and still got to live in the same place you were living when you made $5. Because the extra 10 doesn't give you moving money; it just gives you more food and house money. So it's an amazing thing. And then to hear Jared talk about how they purposely would tell the governors to shut things down, and they come along and open things up, so they look like the heroes. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then how he says he knows there's a lot of death and still a lot of suffering, but we're turning the corner. And then they brought out these new GDP figures, which I wish people would not just jump on a wagon when it starts rolling down the street.
Yeah.
So the last quarter, the GDP rose about 7%. The reason that it rose was the amount of people that went back to work after being laid off for the pandemic all those months. But if you compare the same period this year to the same period last year, it is the worst since the Depression. So all this, the economy is doing great because you see these rises in GDP. They're directly correlated to the fact that the curtain came up, people went back to work, but nobody's giving them the whole story, letting them know that this period compared to last year is the slowest rise. The biggest problem since the Depression. Yet we're being told over and over again that we've got this booming economy. We're ignoring the fact that this is the economy that he inherited after one of the worst periods in our history. Under the previous administration, he was handed something that was running, that was moving. All he had to do was put his hand on it and cause it to go forward. No. Ran it like a business that he's had. And ends up, if you will, bankrupting it. Too much debt. We're in trillions of dollars worth of debt. We're coming up on what I believe is going to be another shutdown out of necessity. And they're trying to avoid this at all costs. And we're legislating a new Supreme Court justice while people are languishing. Businesses are struggling to stay alive. I don't understand it's almost like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of destruction. I'm going to do everything I can to mess myself up. It does not make sense to me.
Well, because you're looking at the broader scope
Okay.
compared to they're looking at their narrow. These are my folk we gonna take care of,
Okay.
and let's just do it this way.
All right.
You care about people.
Yes.
Unfortunately, some people in our government don't.
Man. There's no compassion.
None at all. And again, they keep talking about GDP, stocks, and all those things, but the average American worker is not affected by all those things on a day-to-day basis.
Here's my latest answer to those assertions. So someone asked me last week, didn't I think the economy was better? And I asked them what their indicators were. And they said, well, the stock market has risen. And I asked them a question. So you're heavily involved in the stock market? And of course the blank look, and the answer was ultimately no. Because the stock market is not the economy. There are only a few Americans that make their living through the stock market who are profoundly impacted by it.
Yep.
So if I'm a working Joe, I'm making $15 an hour. The only stock market I may be even exposed to is in my retirement fund.
Yep.
And they send me a quarterly statement, and I watch my stuff go up $3, down $4, up $7, down $6.
Yep.
So I'm not heavily impacted by the stock market. So it's an illusion that people that are uninvested in the stock market will use the stock market as a barometer of their own personal finances.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Yep. And the crazy thing is the American lie. I wouldn't say the American lie. It's true for some, but a false for everybody. Everybody's not going to be a small business owner.
No.
Everybody's not going to be wildly successful and a millionaire.
Yep.
In a capitalistic system,
Yep.
you need the working class.
Yep. You need poor people.
And their whole thing is, well, there's just always this hope that all of us can make
You're
it. It's not going to
going
happen.
to need poor people. The Bible says that the poor shall always be with us. Not as a casual statement, but to let us know there will be people who are disadvantaged that we must apply wisdom, resources, and help to.
Right.
That there are always going to be poor people to take care of. So if I'm a Christian, I can't ignore the fact that capitalism has a casualty,
Yep.
and it's called poverty.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
You need somebody making minimum wage or less
In order for you to make money in your
order for you to
business.
make a whole bunch of money.
Yep.
But they got everybody believing that all of them are going to make it,
No.
and it's not true.
No. It's as spurious as the prosperity gospel in the kingdom.
Yep. Yep.
A prosperity gospel that says everyone's going to be a millionaire
Yep.
is not biblical.
Absolutely.
But what is biblical is God says you will have all sufficiency
There you go.
in all things.
Yep.
You will be blessed. You may not be a millionaire,
Yep.
but you will be blessed.
Yep.
More than enough, which is enough to share with other people.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep. It is possible.
There are millionaires.
Yep.
There are thousandaires. There are 100,000aires. They're billionaires.
Yeah.
But not everybody's going to be
Yep.
a millionaire.
And then Kushner's quote
Yeah.
about black people complaining and the reason they're unsuccessful is because of them. Here's the question, and I didn't think about this. Somebody brought this up.
Okay.
When is Kushner and them are going to talk about all those poor white Americans? Are they deciding not to be unsuccessful in Mississippi?
He's not
Kentucky?
he's not including them. So that comment excludes the rural non-black people
Absolutely. Who are living in trailer parks and just getting
all
by
over the
and-
country, just getting by, generationally just getting by. Okay. Well, they have these derogatory names from rednecks and the truck in the front lawn broken down. Those people, that's what they call them.
Yep.
Their own people call them that.
Yep.
So I think if we oppose to have a kingdom view, and out of many comes one
Yep.
that demands an equal treatment of basic things to everybody that's a part of this nation.
Yep.
I don't think that's a travesty, and I don't think that's socialism. That happens to be biblical.
Yeah.
So are you calling a biblical principle socialism now?
Yep. because you're right. Because when God says in 2 Corinthians 8, what God calls equality is not everybody having the same thing.
No.
He says the one that needed less had their needs met. The one that had more had their needs met. And God called that equal.
Yep.
Because every family didn't need a whole bunch of manna. Some needed some little. Some needed more.
As far as stewardship was concerned, you give proportion to what you have received.
And that's what you need. Your needs are met.
It doesn't. My God shall supply all your need according to his riches and glory. Of course, that is technically the response of heaven to people of God sowing into ministry on earth.
Yep.
That's God's response. The secondary is he promises to be your shepherd.
Yep.
And you shall not want of basic things in life. That's what he promises.
Yep.
So there's provision, there is wealth. But he gives you wealth to establish his covenant
Yes, sir.
through you on the earth.
Yes, sir.
So you got to be able to manage being wealthy and being spiritual at the same time.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah. Look, even Gus Fring said it. He said, you don't have to teach somebody how to be poor. He's talking to Walter White. You got to teach people. Most people don't know how to be wealthy. They
That's
got to
right.
learn how to be
That's
that
right.
way.
Because many people, just like business owners,
Yep.
cannot handle the liberty of being self-employed, and many can't handle the liberty of being wealthy.
Absolutely.
And it gives you a liberty.
Yeah. And people say, you give me $20 million, I'll never be broke again. Look at all those athletes who made $100 million.
5 years. 5 years.
Gone.
5 years.
Gone.
5 years. I know a few. 5 years. So wealth does not eliminate a poverty mindset.
Yep.
And a poverty mindset inadvertently, subconsciously positions you to be without funds until you get paid again.
Yep. Yep.
I know of at least 3 lottery millionaires in a city I won't refer to, where the lottery millionaires have to go on welfare before the 12-month period of the next check arrives. Literally have to go apply on welfare. Broke 90 days after they get their installment for the year.
Yep.
So money does not eliminate a poverty mindset.
Absolutely.
A poverty mindset, listen to me everybody, a poverty mindset dictates that you be broke at the end of every month. If you are broke at the end of every month, then you are possibly wrestling with a poverty mindset. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, they did a study of lottery winners and talked about how miserable most of them are. How most, like I said, out of money. Some of them wish they never won the money. Wish they were back to their normal working class life. That quick money doesn't always translate into a mind that can manage.
No one thinks of the pressures and the responsibility of wealth. No one thinks of the family members that suddenly believe they're entitled to what you have won or been given. No one thinks of the hustlers that come after you. I think the first thing you have to do when you receive any windfall of money is assemble a team to help you hold on to it.
Right.
And not a team you put together of folk down the street. People proven to help you preserve money.
Yep.
But most of us won't do that. First thing we want to do is splurge.
Yep.
When what you need is a team to say, look, it's no different, Pastor Nick, than you deciding what you want to do with your estate versus going to someone who's proven to know how to handle estates, laws, taxes, and all of that. So what you want transferred, get this there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You can't do it on your own.
Yeah, you can't. And you're right. Part of the prosperity gospel that was bad was it only taught one side of the scripture.
That's all.
Which was seed sowing.
Right.
When there's a whole lot of scripture about managing your money,
That's right.
stewardship,
Absolutely.
debt,
Absolutely.
all those
Absolutely.
things. So we always like to say sowing is a part of the process.
That's
It's
right.
not the whole process.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And it's necessary to understand that God loves putting wealth in the hands of those who've proven that they can handle it. How does that scripture say?
Is the faith overview that one?
No. He that waters shall be
watered himself.
Shall be watered himself.
Yeah.
He that waters shall be watered himself. God establishes wealth in his people to establish his work, his kingdom, his covenant in the earth.
Yep.
So that includes it flowing through you. And I grow tired of people telling wealthy people what they should do with their money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some folk buy drugs with theirs. Some folk give tithes with theirs. The folk that buy drugs with them, that's not my business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Like,
Not my business.
yeah, we're gonna do.
We got Danny on line 1. Come on, give us a call. 866-743-8261. 866-743. 8267. 866-743-8267. 866-743-8267. Give us a call. Man, is it on the screen somewhere?
Screen, yeah.
Okay. Man, I can't read. I'm not looking at the screen. It's not a typo, y'all. That's the number.
Yeah. So,
I don't know where this 1 came from in my consciousness.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's 7 in that 1. What have I been doing? Oh.
All those numbers yesterday and stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
that-
no.
that-
In the past couple of weeks, I've been getting ready for the anniversary thing, and I've been dealing with these numbers, 8, 7, and all that.
Okay.
You know, so, and of course, the number 1 is prominent in preaching. So,
Yeah.
Danny's from Florida. Let's talk to him as others get on the phone. Hey, Dan.
Good morning, Bishop, Pastor Nick, staff. How you all
sir.
doing today?
We're trying to make it, man. How's it going in Florida? I'm concerned about you all.
Yes.
Can you turn him up, please?
We're trying to hang in and bring about a change. I just like to ask a quick question before I get into that.
Okay.
You all have me confused this morning.
Okay.
I don't know how we
see
confused.
both
We got the same
you
thing
and
on.
Pastor Nick. How is the weather? I'm confused.
Well, we are dressing for the booth today.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, as preachers, and you may or may not know this, as preachers, for some reason, now it didn't happen when I wasn't saved. I didn't have the sensitivity. I don't know about you, Bethany.
No.
But once I started preaching, my voice became very sensitive to temperature changes,
Okay.
and then as I started to lose hair, I started to feel cold air on my head. Because normally Pastor Nick has the hat on because he's real cool, and I have no hat on because I'm my age. So now I have a hat on today to keep my head warm.
Yeah.
Well, Pastor Nick confused me because he told me that he loves sweaters.
I do.
And that he couldn't wait
I couldn't wait.
until it got a little cool and he would put a sweater on.
Yeah.
But is that a sweater that he has on?
No, he has a hoodie on today.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a
hoodie,
hoodie.
man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I love sweaters too. I have a collection that's crazy.
Comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, they're comforting.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a cold front to come through. It's down to 78 today.
Oh my.
Oh, that's so.
Oh, I'm feeling for you, Dan.
Bring your mink coats out.
Oh yeah, you guys be wearing boots in a minute, right?
But it's 5 inches of rain,
Yeah.
Oh.
so we're in a
Yeah.
flood condition now.
Yeah. Did you let's see. Did you guys get hit like Louisiana did in Oklahoma?
No. We have been blessed to have the bypasses.
Okay.
Everything now is coming off of the Yucatan Peninsula, and there's another storm forming, by the way, right now.
Wow.
Yeah. They said Louisiana got hit pretty hard. Oklahoma had a bunch of ice storms.
Ice storms?
Yeah. One of the
Yes.
one of our Connections Church people was saying it last night.
Wow.
Yeah.
We have Connections members in Oklahoma?
Yeah. Vicki Wells. She
That's
watches
wonderful.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which a question that I've been meaning to ask you, Bishop.
Yes.
Is can you do you see any relationship as God trying to talk to us over the different things that are happening in the United States? We got fires in one area. We have snow coming out early. We have storms that are persistent and coming the same route, and they're not deviating and doing things that are not normal.
Jesus talks about it in the New Testament about hearing about these storms and hearing about these wars and hear about these different environmental and atmospheric disruptions. He says, don't be troubled by these things. They have to happen, and they're just the beginning of things.
Yep.
So the Bible is clear that these differences, these rumors of unusual things, atmospherically, environmentally happening in unusual places, are part and parcel of what he predicts and what he prophesies that we shall deal with. As a matter of fact, I think I preached on a little bit of that either last week.
Yeah.
Last week I think. About these rumors of different things, nation against nation, which is people against people, and that kind of thing. So all these things are currently kingdom predicted and prophesied by the Lord.
Well, and the other thing that I wanted to talk about, the vice president to the vice president.
Oh, your
opened up
governor.
Yeah.
Did he really open it up, Danny, or was that just?
No, he opened it up because
They call everything fake news. So I wasn't sure whether that was real.
Yeah, that was he opened up everything, and he put the school boards on notice that if they did not open up, that they would not support them financially. So they had no other course but to go ahead and to open up the schools. Now, with that happening, you had kids that were going to schools, and then all of a sudden they started coming up with these COVIDs, and then the kids were coming home, giving it to the parents.
Absolutely,
the
absolutely.
But they're still leaving the schools open.
I don't understand. I've said this to you almost every time we've talked in the last 2 or 3 months. I don't understand your governor and his lack of concern for the people that have elected him to oversee their safety as part of his job. Is it his desire to have the approval of the president? Is that so intense that he's willing to sacrifice people to get it?
And as I've said time and time again before here, and that's the reason why I ask you all: do you all get a daily tabulation of the deaths? We don't get that anymore.
Yeah, we're hearing about deaths. The news is keeping us up to date with a lot of the top maybe 5, 6, or 7 states that are experiencing spikes. But we've got half the country statewide that are experiencing spikes right now, and some places where they were in defiance to the distancing and the face mask. Iowa, Nebraska, places that you don't tend to hear about these things happening in intensity. They are the hot spots in the nation right now. Some people say, I think it's Iowa's the hot spot, or Idaho is the hot spot in the world.
Yeah, we're not getting any news briefings. He used to come out every day when he wanted to take it out of the hands of the people that were responsible for doing this. He had taken it out of their hands, just like they did with the president, where he had taken it out of the hands of the committee of just actually giving a report, where you don't get any information at all now.
And now they've quote unquote taken it out of the hands of the doctors.
Yes. And you find that they say, well, we don't have that many hospital admissions and what have you. Well, the reason is that people don't want to go to the hospital because once they go in there, they don't come back.
Well, the other thing is too, Dan, which is, if I hear this assertion one more time, that the reason we have more cases is because we're testing too much.
I heard somebody tell me that the other day too.
Yes,
Craziness.
yeah.
They were serious when they said that?
And this was somebody in the medical profession said that to me. I was like, doesn't make much sense when you see hospitals are still full.
Wait a minute. The reason we have so many cases is because we're testing so much. And the test is designed to reveal if you're infected.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So test less so we don't know who's out there sick.
Which is absolutely crazy.
It's homicidal.
Yeah. Yeah. We just had somebody say they were in the hospital because the person's case wasn't as difficult as everybody else's.
Mm-hmm.
They sent them home because they needed the room.
What happens to the household?
That's the thing. Then you got to go in and just quarantine. And
how much quarantining can you do in a residence where everybody's living in the same place? The house has been conventionally constructed, which means there is no real exhaustion of the air in the house. It just circulates around the house.
Yep.
And I don't care if you crack a window or not.
Yep. Exactly.
It's like COVID does not know.
Yeah.
The window's open. Let me go outside.
Right,
That's no.
Mm-hmm.
It can't count. It doesn't have direction. It goes where it's sent. Mm-hmm. It stays where it lays. It's so. And maybe I'm being too pragmatic. Perhaps I'm being too realistic about this.
But when you got people like Trump that's saying stuff, and then Kenneth Copeland coming out saying that Trump is immune from the virus and we should go out and do stuff.
Copeland doesn't know that we know someone that had it twice in 90 days.
Thank you. And that Trump could get it again.
Twice in 90 days we know someone. And a strong, physically strong individual.
Yep.
Got well, got sick, got well, family member got it, brought it home, gave it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that they're not reporting is that right after the rallies, they were doing the tracing,
Spikes.
and they were finding that the people that were attending, they were infected.
Yep.
Then they came back and infected the entire community.
He doesn't care. And you know what? I don't blame him.
They're coming out.
I blame the people that go out there and expose their families to this
Yep.
problem, and they don't have to.
Yep. He left some of them. You heard about the Omaha thing?
What happened now?
So he went to a rally in Omaha. It was cold outside. They were out there in the cold to listen to him. He
Okay.
got in his plane and left. The buses that brought the people to the tarmac when he
Yeah.
was doing it, they were late, and all those people had to stay outside in that cold for hours. Senior citizens, a couple of them got hypothermia, had to go to the
yeah, I
hospital.
saw that.
All that stuff. You ain't hear nothing from
Doesn't care.
his camp about.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care.
And-
If you'll
and then
if you'll snatch infants out their mother's arms and now don't know who to give them back to,
Yeah.
you don't care.
Yep.
One more point, and then I'll
I'm starting to
get
get
out.
pissed off.
I know. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Is that the interview for 60 Minutes?
Yeah.
Remember, there was an abrupt ending to that.
Oh, with that young lady.
Yes,
I didn't. What happened with that? I didn't see it.
I ain't watching.
they knew at that particular time that Pence staff had a problem.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended the interview right there, because whatever he was going to say and whatever he was going to go ahead and try to defend would be on record.
Wow.
So the way out of that was to just go ahead to abruptly end it. Then he promised that, we're going to show you something later that would happen during this. We never did hear anything.
Well, there was nothing to see. He got mad because I think it was Leslie Staller was her name.
Mm-hmm.
She asked him, "Are you ready for some tough questions?" And he got immediately offended. Because what he wanted her to do was throw him a bunch of, I wouldn't say softballs, beach balls, so he could hit them.
Right. Yep.
Come on, man. President of the United
They
States.
knew at that time that they had a problem within the organization, that everyone was being infected with this. So it just didn't go beyond that.
Danny, how in the world are you the leader of the infectious disease, whatever they got planned going on,
And you don't know.
and your whole staff is coming down with it? How's that work? Man, we got to go. How's my sister doing?
She's doing great, Bishop. She's doing great.
Tell her I asked for her, please.
We'll do. Be blessed.
Bye-bye now. 866-743-8267. 866-743-8267. Give us a call. We're going to Tom. Florida's in the house this morning. Hey, Tom.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sir.
How are you?
Earlier, pretty good. You guys were talking about wealth, and I heard Charles Barkley years ago in an interview say that the reason he is wealthy now, when he came in the league, he was acting like a crazy man.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. J pulled him to the side and said, do you know who you are?
Ooh.
You don't have to prove it to anybody else.
Wow.
And he said that made him understand. But he said it had to be Dr. J. He said the problem with sports and athletes are your head's so big, you don't buy it from somebody else. Because if it wasn't Dr. J, he probably would ended up broke like everybody else. But someone mentored him into keeping money.
Yeah, because he had a gambling issue supposedly back then,
Yeah.
and was literally running through all of his money. And, professional athletes have this attitude that there's always going to be another season.
Mm-hmm.
And so they spend money thinking the next big contract is coming. But the one thing you cannot predict is likability and injury.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot predict them.
And Scottie Pippen's here in Fort Lauderdale, and he's bankrupt. And it's
Scottie
amazing.
Pippen is?
He went.
Yeah.
I think it was a couple of years ago. I think he's out of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He still has his home here, because I've rode by it. But he still has a home and all, but I think about 2-3 years ago, he actually...
Yeah. I think some of his
filed
businesses
bankruptcy.
went under on him.
Guys don't have the right people around them.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes if you've come from poverty, you can be negatively protective of the information, guarding yourself from the information that you need to preserve the very thing you want the most.
Yeah.
But like adults are like children. The things we seem to desire the most, like toys, we break them.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot tell you how many times my grandson has come to me with something that he cherished, and ask me, can he fix it? And I'll ask him, how did it get broken? And he'll have to tell me he did it. Why are you breaking things that you want?
Yep.
Adults do this all the time.
Yep.
Wow. Bishop, the main reason I called today was something disturbing I saw on the news this morning.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor of Miami called out the governor here and said, I believe you are trying to create herd immunity without telling the public.
Of course he is.
He has taken all the precautions out.
I just asked Pastor Nick a little while ago. Asked Danny, is the governor of Florida so intent on getting the president's approval that he's willing to risk the lives of those he's been elected to protect?
Oh, this morning, the mayor of Miami called him out. On NBC News, he said literally he believes he's trying to herd immunity without informing us that's what he's going to do.
Well, which means he's trying to sacrifice a lot of people in your state.
Oh, yes. He has removed all restrictions. Not only that, the local communities that were enforcing things, he's removed the power for you to fine people. Miami, Dade County, and up here in Fort Lauderdale and Broward County, they had all kind of laws in place, or at least ordinance that was having people, we could fine for this stuff. He's removed that from these municipalities.
There's a lot of illogical, diabolical things going on. Why would you need guns at a polling place? And why, if you had the restriction in place, would a judge come along and remove the restriction so dozens of armed people can simply stand around with weapons in their hand? You're asking for trouble.
In Texas yesterday, they were two places. They were going by the polling places with their guns, Trump flags and stuff, intimidating people in lines. Yesterday, I think Biden and Harris were down there, or one of them was, and a bunch of the Trump cars were lined up. People in there had their guns and everything, trying to mess up the vehicle from getting to the place. And the cops were like, there's nothing we can do. It's out of our jurisdiction. I mean, they're lined up on the freeway. Trump flags, everything, guns and everything. I think it was Kamala Harris was down there.
And they were trying to prevent her
and they were trying to prevent her and people to get to the site. And the cops were like, there's nothing we can do.
So how did they handle the situation?
They just let it. They just tried to manage it and help the people get through. But they were literally trying to block them from doing what they were doing.
Isn't there a law? Wait a minute. When protesters in Baltimore blocked the freeway as a protest to violence by the police, there was no hesitation about the police breaking up that particular demonstration. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Only reason I know this is because I know who organized them blocking the exits and all to get the attention of the local authorities. It's no different.
Yep.
Okay.
But who determines what?
Who determines what, as I always say. Yes, go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
No, but also Walmart is no longer selling ammunition till November 9th.
Wow.
It's going to be something next week.
We don't have a president that really cares about the peace in this nation.
Yep.
What I've discovered, and this is what's so diabolical, these rallies have indicated to me he does not care about the lives of his own supporters. He's willing to exploit the fact that because he has their support, that he can direct them to do things that are detrimental to them and their families and their children.
Yep.
He does not care,
Yep.
and I don't know why people that I know can't see that. I mean, I know some smart folk
That's the
that
problem.
can't see it.
And they deny it all the time and justify it. I was talking to one the other day. I'm like, well, how come you can't see what's going on? Well, the left, the mainstream media. I'm like,
That's
bruh,
not the answer. That's not the answer.
like, come on. The left is more violent than the right. You don't see them with guns down. Come on.
Come on, man. Come on.
I'm going to read one other thing. I worked for a major corporation for a long time, and I
Okay.
know some guys, one who's a VP, who I'm still in contact with. I look at their page, I don't comment, but no matter what comes out, they justify what he has done.
They have to.
Like they're blind.
No, they
These
have.
are-
No, they're not blind. They have to. It's like we're going down with the ship,
Yeah.
but there's no thought for their tomorrows. If you're raising kids and you've got teenagers at home, and they're watching this with a teenage eye, somebody's going to ask you, Dad, Mom, why did you do this? Why did you say this? Even if it gets down to duplicating their parents' behavior and the parent trying to chastise them, and they saying, wait a minute, you didn't bother me when you were backing this and supporting this. What's wrong with what I'm doing now?
Yep.
They're not going to be able to do it. Unbelievable. Tom, you stay safe down there, man. I'm a little concerned about all the people I know in Florida, from Orlando to Tampa to Jacksonville. I'm concerned, man.
Well, I'm keeping my mask on, and I'm trying to stay away from people as much
Yeah,
as possible.
limit your exposure, Doc. And of course
Take care, y'all.
we're praying for you all.
All right, take care.
Talk to you. 866-743-8267. 866-743-8267. We have our first New Jersey call. Sid.
Stay safe down there, man. I'm a little
Hey, Sid.
Good morning, Bishop Evans.
How you
and Pastor
doing?
Nick.
Hey, Sid.
How are you?
Doing good, doing good. The first time I tried to call in, it seemed like this year my iPhone doesn't want to act right.
Well, that's because
I'm on
it's
my-
dysfunctional.
I use my landline.
It's dysfunctional. It only can see half the time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's just your
So
phone.
yeah, I wanted to ask you about what you were talking about when you first started the show about that poverty mindset.
Yes.
And, I'm just wondering, how do we reconcile watching someone like Trump, who has used bankruptcy like a piggy bank,
Mm-hmm.
and, it almost feels like he has a poverty mindset just watching this clown. And, it seems like generational wealth insulates people like him. And I was going to say it seems so unfair, but I know life isn't fair.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we wrap our minds around that? We watch that. People like that can act so dysfunctional. But yet, my mom, she used to use a term that's derogatory, but she'd say these N-word rich walking around, newly wealthy, like they Wall Street ballers talking about they Trump, they on the Trump train.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's crazy to me.
Well,
I don't know
I think the same disparity of personality and morality and spirituality that you find in poverty-stricken people, you find among the wealthy. I think there's a negative assumption that wealthy people are going to be good managers of themselves and their money, when some people can handle the liberty of being wealthy and others can't. Those that can't find themselves getting into trouble that wealthy people can't, that's open to wealthy people.
Yep.
There's a lot of the trouble that's available to working people, not available to wealthy people. And if it is available to both working and wealthy people, it's not the same intensity of trouble, nor the same level or depth of trouble. So there are people with wealth who are not very nice people, and there are people with wealth who have been raised in an entirely different mindset.
Yeah.
So it's, you know what they say, it is not money that changes a person.
Right.
It's money that reveals an individual.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I have one other thing
Okay.
I wanted to ask you about, and that is, have you heard about the cop that
The
was
who?
indicted for Breonna Taylor's murder,
What about him?
filing a lawsuit against her boyfriend for emotional distress?
Say what?
He is suing Walker, the boyfriend, for emotional distress. I'm going to post a link to the article in the chat, but they were talking about it on the news yesterday, and I think that is absurd.
Did he
disgusting,
die?
and despicable.
He didn't die, did he?
Nope.
Was he wounded?
Nope. Was he the one that got shot or no?
He's the one that's being indicted for shooting through the wall.
Okay.
And I mean, he said that he's suffering severe trauma, mental anguish, and emotional distress because of Kenneth Walker's actions on March 13th. So he's suing the boyfriend whose girlfriend was murdered.
It gets more absurd as the days go by.
It's mind-blowing.
It's like Falwell's now suing the university because they defamed his character.
Yes. Well, he was the one posting pictures of him.
And they both talked about the boyfriend they've had.
Right.
You know, he likes observational recreational activities.
Yeah.
Did I say that
out. He brought that out.
Observational recreational activities.
Right.
And yeah.
Unbelievable.
How in the heck is he gonna how's he gonna sue them for defaming his character?
Right. Yes.
What a world.
Come on, man.
Yes.
Sid, good to hear from you.
Yep. We're having parking lot church today, right?
Absolutely.
All right, then. I will be there.
The sun's out.
Yeah.
All right.
See you later. 12 o'clock today here at the plaza. So, what time is it?
9:50.
9:50. Wow. So let's see what else is there anything else we need to talk about today other than the things we've talked? What do you think about the election? Give me your overall hypothesis, prediction, predilection, unction, insight, discernment. What do you think is gelling?
I wouldn't be surprised if Trump wins again,
Why?
based off the states he needs to win.
Which are
If
those?
he wins North Carolina,
Okay.
Florida, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, it's a wrap. But if Biden takes Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
Michigan, and Wisconsin, he's going to win.
Okay.
Those are the major swing states
Okay.
that are up in the air,
So you're saying the other ones
are pretty much locked in.
for Biden?
Well, the normal ones for Biden and the normal ones for Trump that go Republican. Like your more
Okay.
southern states usually will vote for Trump.
Now, which way you think Georgia's going to go?
Georgia's going to go to Trump.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless like, a huge surge of people come out and vote.
Now, you're basing this on what?
I'm basing it on the Electoral College.
Okay.
And how these states normally vote, because his biggest supporters are in like Kentucky, Louisiana, Texas.
Do you see any indicators in the Stacey Abrams run and the Beto O'Rourke run? Because he lost by a very small
small,
margin,
yeah.
and so did she.
Yes, they did it. But his group is going to. I posted this yesterday on Facebook to see what I thought.
Okay.
We're going to see more black men vote for Trump this year than 2016, and people were coming in their
And
comments.
why would they do that?
Because some of them are they started businesses during the Trump era, and then noticed their businesses doing well under Republican policies, so they're voting for that. Some working class men who find some appeal with Trump, and you're seeing these rallies of black Trump supporters, and people were saying, like, I know a bunch of black men personally.
So are these the guys that are disconnecting themselves from their legacy and from the plight of other black people in America?
Yes, that's what it sounds like, yeah. And their view of black America is, we got to do all the work. The government's not their job. It's all on us. But here's my problem. When rural America felt like the government forgot about them, they voted Trump in.
Yep.
They didn't blame themselves.
Nope.
They didn't say, we got to fix this. They said, you got to fix this for us. So, I hope he doesn't win. I really hope he doesn't.
I used to think that he probably was going to get in again until they started doing everything possible. Post office, redistricting. They started doing everything possible, which indicated to me that does not sound like the strategy of someone that thinks they're going to win.
They're cheating too. That's the other part.
Yeah, I actually think Lindsey Graham is in real trouble this time.
Yeah.
And only because they never expected Jamie to get the kind of money he's gotten to compete.
Yeah. He's got a lot.
With Lindsey Graham. He's gotten buku money.
Yep. So,
to the point that Republicans had to start throwing money at Graham, but I'm not sure they didn't throw it at him too late.
Yep. And they're trying. But they're trying to steal the election.
Doesn't sound like winners.
The ones that aren't voting, the ones that aren't voting at all, that's still high. Because they still got that whole woke thing about not liking Biden or not liking Trump, and some are going to vote third party this year.
If you have no vote, I want to say this as gently as I can. If you're voting for a third party, you're screaming into the wind. I had another illustration, but this is a Christian program, and I won't use it. I'm serious. You're screaming into the wind. If you have no vote in the major flows of an election, you have no presence. If you have no presence, you have no possibilities. So it is imperative that we understand that you have to vote to have a voice, to have a presence, to have a possibility of changing your situation. If you don't, you have no right to complain. Keep your mouth shut. Stay off the street. Keep your stone in your pocket.
This year, I'm not a third. Now, usually, I am a third party person, but this year, I'm not.
You better not be.
This year, I'm not. The only reason why
I'll hurt you.
No. Usually, I never voted third party, but I do think we need a strong third party in this country to balance this thing out.
It's not going to happen with one election.
It's not this one.
No.
But in the future, like America, when it first was going on, they had three or four major good, strong parties, which allowed you to pick from. But now, with all the money in the two, it's corrupt on both sides.
You got to. We got to go with what we have. We got to vote in what we do.
This year,
and when you don't vote, you might as well slap your grandmother and grandfather in the face. It's ridiculous.
They don't think like that now.
And here it
which is crazy.
Here it is. It is not the lesser of two evils. It's which one do you have the possibility of getting the legislation from their philosophy. You can't agree with everything. It's not the lesser of two evils. Which one do you think is going to take care of you, your family, your community, all those types of things?
They don't think that way.
Okay.
And they're straight up, well, I know my ancestors died to vote, but that I ain't them. Well, I'm glad you weren't living during that time.
Yeah. Let's go to Dina from Florida. She's probably going to be our last caller. Hello, Dina. How are you?
Hi.
Are you a first-time caller?
Yes, I.
Well, welcome. Your phone.
Thank you, Bishop. I'm fine here in Florida.
Good.
Keeping my mask on. Thank you, Bishop. Bishop, I'm coming with a sincere heart to let you know I'm a lifetime Democrat. Inner city myself, and I just have to ask you, how am I going to justify voting Democrat this time?
You have a whole lot of these people,
and I fought with them to be more moderate. I'm very upset. I feel like the party's hijacked. They do not want to hear about no abortion. I can't see how I could vote as a Christian for a party whose platform, I'm not even talking about the people, but the platform.
I think there's a difficulty, and I'm not going to try to persuade you one way or the other, but I would ask you to consider this one thing. In my context and the way I look at the Bible, being pro-life does not end when a child is born. In my context and the way I look at the kingdom, being pro-life is womb to tomb. And we've got a very important issue. I'm pro-life all day long. We've got a very important issue of, yes, I care about children getting here, but I'm not that concerned about them once they hit life. So we're concerned with life but not living. I think it's one component. And we're finding that people that are staunch about getting the children here are not nearly as passionate about their welfare once they're here. I think kingdom pro-life is womb to tomb. That's making you think.
Yes, it is, because I heard Governor Cuomo celebrating signing into law the ability to give abortion under any circumstances.
He's not doing that.
Like
He's not going to do it.
Not late term stuff.
Afterlife.
Yeah. Not late.
40 years of my life towards that.
Yeah. Not late term. Cuomo's not. He's not doing late term.
Well,
but
see,
I don't like any of it. Early, late.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
my philosophy is, if you didn't have an abortion, what would you have? That's my philosophy. So I'm a pro-life, whole life individual.
Yep.
So
I agree.
So that puts me in a dilemma. I'm all for protecting babies in the womb, but I'm also for protecting those children when they're grown.
Yep.
I agree. But I'm not sure the Democratic Party looks at it that way. I find a great deal of godlessness among my co-Democrats, to be honest with you.
Do you find
They want to take
godliness
God
among
out of the
Republicans?
Pledge of Allegiance. They don't want us standing for the pledge. They don't want us to even have flags when we have.
That's not even
convention.
true. That's not even true.
Dina, that's
not
a little skewed. I think what you're saying is don't want to. They're saying that if you don't want to pledge, that's your right as an American. Which is absolutely true. It is your right as an American if you don't want to pledge, if you don't want to stand. It's your right as an American.
My understanding is they took under God out of the pledge.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's not
They
true.
did not?
No, ma'am. That's not true.
Okay.
And you know you can get the truth from us. That's not true.
Even if it was one event,
No,
that's not the
I
whole
do.
entire
That's
platform.
Why I called.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
called you because I know you tell
Yeah.
me like it is,
Yeah.
and I really,
Yeah.
really believe what you're saying
Yeah.
comes from the heart.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, that's just not true. A lot of things are being perpetrated that are just not true. But in the middle of an election cycle, what they try to appeal to, Dina, is not the spirit of us. They try to appeal to the emotion of us.
Yeah.
I know, but the other issue is anti-Israel, to speak against Israel and to not be pro-Israel. I mean, we had with the other president.
That's such a misconception. Yeah, that's such a misconception, especially for those of us that have mission to Israel and all that kind of stuff.
I think we've taken the pro-Israel biblical view way too far beyond what God wants it to be.
Okay.
Pro-Israel doesn't mean you support them even when they're wrong.
Okay.
The Republican Party makes it like we pro-Israel, support them no matter what. But even if God calls them out, and God sent prophets to call them out, then obviously,
they've done wrong things in the past.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
You know where we
agree.
stand on this show is this, D. We're of the mind that in the life of our elected officials, they may have our support, but we have to be definitive when we disagree with part of what they do.
Yep.
I understand.
You know,
understand.
but it does not leave, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I told Hillary Clinton and a group of top-level Democrats in a meeting in Washington, D.C., that they were not making it easy for people of faith like me to stand on the platform with them.
Right.
That these are my issues with what you're doing. I am a Democrat, and you've probably heard me say before, Republican policies tend to help the business part of me, but they have historically not been good for working people. How do you tell me that a $15 an hour wage is not something I really want because I want to earn my way to that? There's just some things that are just incongruous. What I believe the Bible is teaching. But they're politicians, not priests. But
I know
we still are in a position where we cannot call somebody the coming of Jesus when their behavior does not exhibit that. We can't do that. So we are in a difficult place, but
because and this whole thing of Planned Parenthood, putting money, my tax money, into that program, that women come in and use my tax money to have abortion when I can't. I can't sanction it.
Now, Dee, did you know that that's not true?
Well,
did you know that the clinical side, the health side of it, is where the money goes, but the abortion side is privately funded by people around the country? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a separation.
Yeah, they put it out like the whole thing. And did you know that they put most of the Planned Parenthood centers in people of color, minority, impoverished neighborhoods? Did you know that?
But you do know, Bishop, the founder, what her main focus
Oh yeah.
do.
Oh
you
yeah.
do know that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, really.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I understand for us to have good health, and for women who are too poor to really get to a gynecologist to have help. But I'm very worried about the fact that they're in the business of selling parts and encouraging the abortion.
Health like health like abortion was the platform that hid
Yes.
other things. Abortion hid the segregationist platform of the moral majority.
Right.
So
Understood.
and health hid the abortion platform of Planned Parenthood.
Right. Right.
That's how that.
Right.
That's how they.
And that's what
yeah.
grieves me.
Yeah.
Grieves me.
It's like one of
So,
these political bills, D. You know those bills they pass in the Senate? The reason the bill is passed is usually not the main reason that the bill is passed. They've got a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff attached to the bill.
Underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like the stimulus package, all this money going to the Kennedy Center, which had nothing to do with people that are poor and losing their jobs, and losing their businesses.
yeah. I didn't understand how, when you think
That came from Nancy, by the way.
when you think small business, according to our president and to our elected officials, when you think small business, I think of the store at the corner, the
Exactly.
flower shop.
Right.
But when they
Right.
think of small business, they're thinking of Ruth Chris
Corporation.
Steakhouse.
Yeah.
They're talking.
Yeah, and
they're
they got
500
the money.
employees.
I know
Yeah,
they got
it.
I'm sick. I'm very upset about it.
Yeah, they got it.
But
Yep.
I just wanted to touch base with you, Bishop,
Yeah.
because I'm struggling to vote. I know I have to vote, and I
Mhm.
will vote.
Yes.
But I'm just saying I tried my best among the people here, the Democrats, to talk with them, and many listened, but we couldn't. It's sort of like it was a dead end type thing.
Yeah.
Because everything went along with.
Were they kingdom people?
Some were, but
Okay.
yeah. I come from a Jewish background.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with my own family.
Yeah.
who
Jesus
ostracized
is
me anyway.
Jesus is
and
pro-life.
then I come up asking them, why
Yeah.
are you staying in the party who are not for you? And
Yeah, that's just that's overblown. I'm never the mind that you can love someone and still have criticism for them.
oh, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I have
yeah.
many gay friends,
Yeah.
many of them. I don't appreciate their lifestyle, but I would always help them if I
I'll
could.
tell you this, D. Our job, oftentimes, is to accept a person's choice, but that does not necessarily mean we have to agree with it.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, D. We got to close out. Thanks for calling us.
Thank you so much for taking
Thank
time,
you.
Bishop. I wanted to reach you for quite a while.
Absolutely.
I appreciate everything you're doing for us connections people
God-
far away from you.
God bless you, girl.
God bless you as well.
Talk to you
Pastor
soon.
Nick.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call and talk show in America. Pastor Nick's going to come with some announcements right now.
We have driving service today, communion tomorrow, normal services. But we also need to pray for the Church of God in Christ family.
Okay.
Rance Allen just passed
No.
this morning, yes. And Sean Connery.
Connery died today?
Sean Connery and Rance Allen just this morning, yeah. So,
I didn't know
yeah.
Connery had been sick. I didn't know I knew Rance was a little
yeah.
unhealthy, but
Yeah. That's sad.
wow,
So-
Rance died.
Yeah, the Church of God in Christ put it out today. So I don't know if he was still I don't know if he was still pastoring.
I know he was touring up until maybe
Yeah.
months ago
Yeah,
when everything stopped.
yeah,
One of the great voices of gospel
yeah,
music.
man. Yeah, and then Sean Connery was 90 years old.
Was he sick?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Wow.
2020. God was good in this year, but there's some stuff this year.
That's
man.
my James Bond right there, boy.
Sean Connery.
That's my James Bond.
Him and Daniel Craig.
Yeah, man, that's my James
Right, because
Bond.
I love Daniel Craig's
Craig's cool, but not quite as cool as Connery. My boy is Swave, not Suave. He's
Yeah.
Swave.
Say goodbye, y'all.
Y'all got
See you
extra time.
later
See
now.
ya.
Come on, see us today,
Bye.
12 o'clock, outside service.
Yep.